Larry, Fort Worth Memories Museum and Groups. And YouTube at Fort Worth Memories. I'm going to see if it'll connect. It will connect. But I can't get it on my phone yet. And there we are. Okay, I'm going to edit it, and wind's kind of blowing pretty good out there. Let me edit this live feed. So today is Friday. April the 18th. Got that done. Tell everybody good morning. And we're going to share it to the regular internet and to memories, live videos, messages, and I put it on the political group. I need to take it off there. Those folks over there dance to a different tune. I mean, they talk politics, that's it. Okay, so now to get back to Scott will be here today. He's got to fine tune all this stuff over here. Bill's in, George is in, Brittany's in, Marilyn. Good morning to everybody. Okay, so at Dickey's is the National College Gymnastics Finals Championships. For those who are interested, the Rangers, let's see, play at 7:05 against the Dodgers at Texas Rangers, and Saturday 3:05, Sunday 1:35. Okay. Well, this situation with the young man that shot the other or stabbed the other young man is now front page topic to social media all over the world. I mean, it's unbelievable. I looked at a post on Instagram and it claims that he's innocent. And that was put out by some Islamic group or something. I mean, it's just, I'm trying to see if I can find that. That was at 3 o'clock this morning. I don't guess I'll be able to find it. But I mean, it's just gotten crazy. And the minister that's representing the Carmelo's family, I don't know what's going to happen there. And I still don't know what the deal is with that. So GoFundMe apparently withdrew, and now it's something else called Go and Save or something. Go and Send. I wonder how much that money's gotten up to now. Let's find out if Mr. Google knows. Or possibly Mrs. Google. How much money is the GoFundMe for Carmelo? Why the Carmelo Anthony's family didn't use the $412,000? That's because they couldn't access it yet. Two days ago, it was $450,000. So if you represent that as to get defense, to get a lawyer, if they use it for other things, I would think people could get their money back or something. I don't know. But that thing has gotten crazy. And there's a lady that really went after that minister guy, and him and her have been going back and forth. But they're claiming that he had to carry a knife too. Then you had this nut down in Florida. Okay, so here Sarah Fields is the lady that the other guy's going after. He says that guy is a felon who beat a baby to the point of brain injury. So I don't know. This thing has gotten way out of hand, though. So the Frogs won. That was yesterday. Easter weekend storms in DFW. There's Roger Williams. So I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. But it's gotten absolutely crazy. I don't know. Anybody got any thoughts on it? We probably shouldn't even be talking about it. I see Bill, I see you made a post about it. Where are we? And I'll see if anybody's talking about it. Okay, there's Bill. There's no real reason for him to stab that young man. His life was not in danger. He didn't need a knife at a sporting event. What kind of knife was it? Does anybody know? Was it a Bowie? Brittany says that minister has a sheet a mile long. Yeah, so somebody needs to, the court or somebody needs to step in here, and because this thing is a feeding frenzy. It's gonna, I'm afraid it's gonna lead to more violence, because all of these posts are ramping up other people that could turn crazy. I mean, of course, you can't, freedom of speech, you can't stop what they're saying, but yeah, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And then the father of the young man that was killed was at that press conference, and they escorted him out. Why? He didn't, I mean, doesn't he have a right to be there? It's his son that got killed. I mean, I don't know if he was planning on disrupting it or what. Oh no, I think you're right, George. I think it is going to lead to more violence. And I don't know how many days will this thing grow until President Trump gets involved? You know that's coming. And that's liable to screw up the deal. Yeah, well, that thing I saw on Instagram, they're saying that the dead kid's the one that's the criminal. I mean, that's what they're actually saying. And that's put out by some Islamic religion group. Okay, we got our East Texas compadres. Okay, they want to know about Amon Gary Carter Sr. Well, you're off. You're wrong right off the bat. Amon Gary Carter was junior. Amon Giles Carter Sr. was Amon. And his birth name was Giles Amon Carter Sr. Or I guess he added that later. When he was 21, he changed his name from Giles Amon Carter to Amon G. Carter Sr. Okay, moving right along. What else? Y'all bear with us. We're trying to... This is our Cleburne group. We're probably going to be there the Saturday in July. That's not going to work, I can tell you, because we're having our birthday party one of those Saturdays. Brittany, what day is that on? The 17th? Y'all will have to go for... How about June? I mean, can't we do June? And I need to know, because we're going to start doing these roundtable discussions, that there'll be 4 or 5 individuals here every Saturday. It'll be a 2-hour deal from 9 to 11, and then we have our lunch club meeting. So maybe we can do it. How about during the week? Because Rosie's schedule, she will not work here on Tuesdays. Rosie will work every day but Tuesday. I think that's the way it's going. So I can do Tuesdays. James is in. Yeah, I think it's the 17th. Check and see if the 17th is on a Saturday, Brittany. So July is going to be out. We've got the birthday party and other stuff. Okay, back to Amon. So to set the record straight, Amon Gary Carter is Amon Jr. He's the one that was a prisoner of war in Poland. The big Amon, Senior, he was born in 1879 in Crafton, Texas, which is in Wise County. He was born Giles, Giles, Amon Carter. When he was 21, he changed his name legally to Amon G. for Giles Carter Sr. Okay, so what do you want to... I can talk about Amon now from now till July. That's how much that man did for not just Fort Worth, for West Texas. He started Texas Tech College. He was the first chairman of the board. Okay, so he was born December 11th, 1879 in Crafton, Texas, which is in Wise County. So in 1893, his family moved to Bowie, which would make Amon what? 14 years old. And people in Bowie still think that he lived there all of his life, because the lake in Bowie is named Amon Carter Lake. He actually worked at the Jared Hotel and was a chamber pot changer. He was a general flunky. But he was a kid. He wasn't in school. Amon's schooling was self-taught. In 1900, he took a job as a salesperson on the road for American Copying. I can't read y'all. Yeah, okay. American Copying Company. And what they sold was oil-colored portraits. So you made the order, they took your money, and apparently everybody was honest then, and you got it in the mail a week or two later. And they were $14.95, which in 1900 was a lot of money. The next year, he became sales manager, national sales manager. 1901. I don't have enough time to carry you all the way to 1955. He did so much stuff. 1901, he was national sales manager. July 19th, okay. He was national sales manager for American Copying Company, he then had to go to their corporate headquarters, which was in San Francisco, California. That's where Amon met William Randolph Hearst, the man that started Hearst Publications. Patty Hearst, I guess it was her father or grandfather. Let's see, when did she get mixed up in that? 70s? So that would have been, she was in her 20s. That would be her grandfather, right? James, am I right on that? Or Bill? Wasn't the Symbionese liberation deal in the 70s or 80s? And she was in her 20s, I believe. So that would have meant she was born in 50. So William Randolph Hearst Sr. is her grandfather. He goes to a national sales meeting because he's thinking about buying this American Copying Company. Amon's the national sales manager, and they actually didn't hit it off good. Amon kind of snubbed him. He stopped Amon in the middle of a speech and said, "I'd like to ask some questions," and Amon kind of said, "Sit down, sir, and shut up." Amon was cocky. Grandfather, yeah, he would have to be, I think, with the timeline. So Amon kind of snubbed old William Randolph Hearst, and at the time he was one of the richest people in California. So Amon continues on, and he's bringing up salesmen, men and women that he's given awards to, and here's Mr. Hearst again. Hey, sir, Carter. He said, "Do I have to have you escorted from this convention?" And he said, I guess not. I'm just going to leave this son of a bitch. So Hearst leaves. Amon continues on. Amon never hears from him again for about 5 or 6 months. So Amon continues on as the national sales manager. He's making pretty good money. In 1902, he marries Zeta Thomas, who then becomes Zeta Thomas Carter. So Amon, that's in 1902. He was born in 79, so 21 and 2, he's 23 years old. Amon sleeps about like I do, 2 hours a night. She can't stand it. She's from Bowie. She can't stand it, so she divorces him. They had a daughter. And for the life of me, I can't think of her first name. She was an alcoholic, like some people say Amon was. He drank every day. I don't know if you consider him an alcoholic. I don't think he ever had a DWI or anything. Amon was actually by her bedside at Parkland Hospital in Dallas in 1950. Some people say he's holding her hand when she passes. I think he'd come back to Fort Worth, and that Ruth Carter, Amon's daughter, told me that. I interviewed Ruth many times. Okay, so we're at 1902. William Randolph Hearst in 1904, November of 1904, I don't really know the exact date. Amon and Hearst had started talking weeks before, and Amon had been to his office many times. He offers Amon G. Carter in 1904 $100,000 a year. That's all the money in the world. Amon turns it down, quits American Copying Company, and says, I'm moving to Fort Worth, Texas. So he then, and Amon, I bought his memoirs, so I kind of get his personal thoughts. It's not in any books. So Amon's thinking that he can do some good in Fort Worth and in West Texas. West Texas, Amon probably loved West Texas as much as he did, if not more, than Fort Worth, Texas. He sent the newspaper out there as soon as he got control of the newspapers, and it became the largest publication in Texas, and at one time, second largest in the United States. Hold on, I'm getting there. So in 1918, he's divorced Zeta, and he marries Nanetta Weiss Burton. Her father is Gary Burton, a Jewish guy. He owns Burton Dry Goods. It's like a Stripling's or Monnings. Burton Hill Road is named after him. He's Amon's first and only partner in the oil business. They drill, Melinda's in. They drilled 99 dry holes in New Mexico, and on the 100th, they hit a gold mine. Hold on. He controls the newspapers in 1920. 1922, he starts WBAP. 1923, he starts Texas Technological College. The address of the company, or the whatever it is, the school, is right here in Fort Worth, Texas. He also gets the first honorary doctorate degree. You know, that's something they give to high-profile people that have donated a lot of stuff to their college or institution, and Amon not only donated a lot, he started it. Yeah, so that's 1923. 24, Amon is amassing a group of guys that later becomes named the 7th Street Gang. These are very influential people in Fort Worth, Texas. That's where the good old boy system was founded, whatever. Amon never held a political office in Fort Worth, and he ran this city lock, stock, and barrel without question. Whoever the mayor was, when they had to make a decision, it was, hold on, let me go think about this, when really he's in the back room calling Amon, what do I do about this? 1925, Amon buys 780 acres from the George Reynolds estate. George Reynolds was a big cattleman, mostly in West Texas and New Mexico. There's actually 15 other acres that he doesn't buy, and I've never found out why. I'm not even really sure where those 15 acres were. But if you're going like I go home, 820, and I exit on that, is it Quebec, where the knife place is? Just before you get there, if you're heading north, you'll see a clearing where there's like a little rock deal that looks like the Alamo. That is the entrance gate for the oil drilling people. That's Amon's ranch. I don't know why. In his memoirs, he doesn't say why. Shady Oaks Farm. That's where he does all of his entertaining, the majority of it. His house on Broad Street, 1220 Broad, who's now owned by John Pinkerton, a friend of mine. John was the president of Range Resources. He let us use his plane to go out to the college baseball World Series for several years, about 40 of us, when TCU was always in the deal. Quebec, yeah. So I'm going to stop it at that because it's already coming up closer to 8. I got to get open. Rosie will be here in a minute. No, it's still in the family. It's the Amon Carter Foundation. There's oil in them there hills. I mean, all kinds of stuff. That foundation has got plenty of money. Well, Amon, I'll fast track it a little bit. Amon and his wife, Nanetta, after the divorce, they sold the New Mexico properties, and the money, because it was Nanetta's father, who was then deceased, was Amon Sr.'s partner, so she was entitled to half and Amon was entitled to half. I guess that's how they figured it out. They sold it, and that money started the Amon Carter Foundation. Ruth became in charge of the Amon Carter Museum, which I really wish she would have been in charge of the newspaper, radio station, television station instead of Junior, because Junior in 1984 sold it to Cap City. I mean, a lot of money, 120 million, 119 million, but Amon rolled in his grave that day, I can tell you for sure. He didn't want that sold. And I talked to Ruth many times. She sat down with me hours at a time. She did a real good job of the museum. Everything she did was a good job. Her first husband was J. Lee Johnson. God, there's all kinds of heirs. Well, and Nanetta's not his last wife. He ends up marrying Minnie Meacham Smith, who was, H.C. Meacham was the mayor of Fort Worth. He owned Meacham's department store, and Meacham Field was named after him. And she had married a guy named Smith, who was a country club golf hustler type guy. Eamon divorces Nanetta and marries Minnie Meacham Carter. All of this stuff that I've got, Eamon's last phone book was handwritten by Minnie Meacham Carter. In fact, that stuff was bought from her relatives. A bunch of the Eamon stuff that I have, which is more than anybody else has got. Good morning. Well, and then it winds around his property. It's right around the lake. It kind of butts up to where, at the time, the first bomber plant was built, Consolidated Vultee Convair. So now, if you know where that knife place was and those apartments, all of that was Eamon Carter. That was Shady Oaks Farm. 780 acres, but there was 795 acres. It wasn't he didn't have the money. He had plenty of money, and it wasn't because the heirs, the two daughters, didn't want to sell it. They wanted to sell it. But there had to be some reason. He didn't put it in his memoirs because I've read those things so many times I can recite them. And there's 83 pages. Martha's in. Good morning. The play. No, they asked me to kind of watch it before they even went public with it out at the Bel Air in Hearst. I told that guy, he used to work for Eamon at the paper. Now he works for, I guess, the Morning News or Times Herald. I said, it's excellent, except every word that Eamon says, gosh darn, you know that's not what he said. Eamon cursed like a sailor. Bill's in. American Copying Company. So Eamon, and they still talk about this later, I don't know if they're still in business, but many years after Eamon left, they said he developed a sales technique for door-to-door salesman. Anybody got any idea what that was? He told all of his salespeople, you have to buy a good pair of shoes that's got a good solid heel to them and something to them. Don't wear tennis shoes or something like that. His new technique was put your foot in the door when they're slamming the door. And he said, and it's better if you can time it to where it's, oh my God, my foot. Then they invite you into the house. Oh, let me help you. And you sell them a portrait. Hand to God, that was it. Eamon figured out there's more than one way to skin a cat. So after you do your sales pitch, when I don't want any, boom, then you've got them on your side because they've slammed their door on your foot. And they carried that technique on for years. That was invented by Mr. Eamon Giles Carter. At that time, he was Eamon Giles. When he was 20, he was Giles Eamon Carter. Well, we go every year in October. Chicken and Bread Festival. It's in Bowie. It has not gone on since some of the people of Bowie like to tell people that come to witness it that it started. Eamon did not start the Chicken Bread Festival. He didn't even start that event. There was a big train station there. Eamon, as a young man, had a cigar stand there, but there was a group of kids that hired a African American lady to fry a couple of chickens, and they would take a piece of bread and wrap it around a chicken leg or chicken breast, whatever, and go on the trains and sell them. But when Amon joined it, it had been in existence for about 2.5, 3 years. He perfected it. He ran it. So in the 60s or 70s, they did one or two. Then they didn't do it. And now, recently, for a few years, a number of years, they've had a chicken and bread festival. It's first weekend in October. I get asked to speak for the last 10, 12 years. Those people there think Amon still lives there. The lake is named Amon Carter Lake. It's at Bowie, Texas. Just watch and coordinate. And we just kind of caravan up there. It's really a small town. Bowie is a very small town. They pull the floats with tractors. So it's a little bitty town. They close off the streets. The people there are very, very nice. They'll invite you into their house. Hell, they damn near kidnapped me one year because the newspaper guy, he owned the newspaper, printed the newspaper, and then his wife helped distribute it. He was somewhere out of town, and they said, well, you got to wait till he gets here. And I said, people, I go to sleep at 7 o'clock. I can't wait till 8:30 and then drive home. So I stayed in Bowie at one of the mayor's house. Anyway, Amon touched a lot of people. People say, was Amon a good old boy? No, he really wasn't. But it was because he had so much stuff to do. So the moral of that story is if you can't help him when he asks and you can't help him, you better get out of his way because he'll roll right over you. It doesn't matter how up the food chain, how high up the food chain, governor of Texas, any of that stuff, he'd go right over your head because he had a very good working relationship with Harry Truman, especially FDR. I mean, whatever Amon said, FDR did. Dwight Eisenhower, I mean, his good old boy club was presidents and governors and the Tsar of Russia and all. I mean, I've got his Christmas cards from 1950 to 1954, really 1955, and he died in 55. And I mean, you wouldn't believe. New Zealand, Poland, I mean, it's unbelievable. 1220 Broad Street. But Amon was instrumental. He was a good guy. As far as helping to mold this city, he was great. It was all run by Democrats back then. But there was a lot of other people. John Peter Smith, K.M. Van Zandt, B.B. Paddock, all of those guys. Ephraim Daggett. There was about 35 people that in the early years really made Fort Worth what it is. Fort Worth was one of the forts that was invented, or the thought came up by General Jenkins Worth from here to where the Trinity and everything meets to El Paso. That was an imaginary line. The Indians stay on one side and we stay on the other. And of course we broke that treaty about 2 hours after it was signed in 1843. That's the Treaty of Bird's Fort. The white men immediately broke it, started selling whiskey to there was about 13 tribes. Fort Worth is the only one of those installations that's not a tumbleweed city. I do speak it. I've spoken in front of 1,100 about Amon. Don't have time to write a book about Amon. Thank you. I do. I speak at, it's about 35 miles west of Springtown. It's a international company I speak there 2 times a year, sometimes 3. He even had me a stage built that's covered and lighting and speaker system, and every one of his employees has to come within their first year, and he flies them in, have to come and listen to my talks about, all I talk about is Amon Carter. That gentleman he thinks Amon Carter is God, or was God. Okay. Yeah, I can, I'm gonna do a 4-part series. It's gonna be a Zoom deal, and you're gonna have to pay a small fee, and that'll be sometime in the summer. It'll be 4 2-hour dissertations about Mr. Amon Giles Carter Sr. One last question. Yes, he bought the log cabin that was where Cynthia Ann Parker was kidnapped from in Parker County, Weatherford. And in fact, y'all often hear me talk about the wash basin bowl that's made out of 1,000 Mexican silver dollars that Santa Anna would kind of do a spit bath when he was out being the head of the army, the Mexican army. And one of those pictures is Josephine Ryan, who is was the great granddaughter of Ephraim Daggett, Captain Daggett. Santa Anna surrendered to Captain Daggett, signed over Texas, and Mr. Daggett, they're from France. They really had the first trading store or whatever in St. Louis in the whole country. Their name is Daguet. Daguet. They were French aristocrats. So Ephraim Daggett was a badass, and he'd chased Santa Anna all over Texas. So the Battle of San Jacinto, he chased him down. Santa Anna had a peg leg, and he was running for cover and laying on the ground up against a tree. I've got a drawing of it. Daggett says, "You want to live or you want to die right here? Sign over Texas." And he did. And so Ephraim Daggett if you watch the movie The Alamo, Santa Anna is on his horse with that feathered hat, kind of like my crazy hair. He took that. He took his battle jacket, which had gold epaulets. He took that wash basin bowl. He took about 8 items. So all of that stuff then is in Fort Worth, Texas. The President of the Republic of Texas, General Sam Houston, is trying to negotiate now with Mexico on water, all kinds of stuff. And the President of Mexico says, before I even talk to you at all, our guy needs to get his stuff back. In other words, he was a national hero, Santa Anna. And so President Sam Houston sends word to Ephraim Daggett, hey, we got to get that guy's stuff back to him. He gives him everything except the gold epaulets and that wash basin bowl. And I'll show you a picture. You can go on Memories, if I can get the phone to work, and go to the, if I can find it, go to the spyglass and put wash basin bowl. And the picture where she's by herself, that's Josephine Ryan. The other picture is Amon Carter with her in 1936. They're in the log cabin that Cynthia Ann Parker was kidnapped in. And that log cabin is in Log Cabin Village. When Amon was still alive, that log cabin, when he bought it, it was on his Shady Oak farm. I don't have time. I got to get open. How many dignitaries did he have to Shady Oak? Thousands, tens of thousands. He always gave away that Shady Oak hat, Stetson. One night he gave away 1,100 of them. Okay, this is the last absolute. Peter Brothers did start making that hat. And the reason why, Amon found out, this is during the war, that Stetson was making hats for Mussolini. That ended that deal. Amon called him up and said, all them hats I got ordered? Stick them. You're doing business with Mussolini and I ain't doing business with you. So then Peter Brothers. No, it was originally Stetson. I worked at Cox's, the only job I really ever had as a kid. And I worked in the men's clothing department. And I was actually 14. I told them I was 16. And I worked in that hat department. Well, I really didn't sell any of the hats. I just kept them all clean. But those Mr. Cox, when he'd have his meeting around Christmas, he would say, and whatever y'all do, you make sure that list of the hats, the people that are coming for the hats, that the box is clean and it's not dusty, and they're never to be charged anything. They don't have to sign a ticket. They sent a list down from the office, and if the guy came in and said, hey, I'm Larry O'Neill, and hold on, we're going to get your hat, and it comes to you in a box. Gave away tens of thousands of them. That was Amon's. And he made everybody in Fort Worth, I post pictures of it. Marvin Leonard was one that did not like it, but it had on the hat band, it said Fort Worth, Texas, or it said Fort Worth. And Marvin Leonard told Amon, he said, I'm not going to wear that on my hat. And he said, oh yeah, you are. And he did. All of the city dignitaries, men, they wore that Shady Oak hat, and it said Fort Worth. Okay, I gotta go. I gotta get open, or Rosie will be mad. There was two ladies, and I remember y'all before. Y'all brought Rosie lunch yesterday and stuff. Thank you. Yeah, she's had it rough. She was gone for a few months, but we got everything worked out. She doesn't work on Tuesdays or Saturdays. She goes to church on Sundays. Best employee I've ever had. She did that horse trailer. There's no way I could even got close to what she did. Yep. Originally, I had planned, and I plan on continuing it. This location, I'm going to give to her if I ever quit. I think she's earned the right to own this classic and not pay any money for it. We'll have to work a deal with the guy that owns it, because there's no way she can pay $5,000 a month. But by that time, this will be somewhere else, the museum, so hopefully she can rent that bay over there for $1,500 a month or whatever. So I got that worked out. The only thing I don't have worked out is the museum. We got the bicycle deal worked out where it goes on forever. And we're getting closer. We're talking to people that have the wherewithal to purchase this museum. All 95,300 pieces. But there's a kicker now. I don't want it in that. Some people have talked about buying it, donating it to the city. I don't want it in the City Hall building. I want a freestanding building, and you're going to have to build it. So all you developers out there that own some property and has to kind of be here in the downtown area, I I think there'll be enough people that have the wherewithal to pay for a building to be built. And also I get to be the curator for as long as I want to at 150 grand a year. So, but I doubt if I'll ever get it sold. I've spent over $4 million in 40 something years. But my family's entitled to something on it. Okay, thank you, Cleburne. Okay, yeah, work on June, and Tuesdays are good. Because Saturdays by June, we're going to have this roundtable discussion. And if there's 35 of y'all, the other day I had 3 different groups come through, and it was about 36 people, and it was an all-day deal. So I won't be able to do an all-day deal on Saturday, because plus we do Saturday Lunch Club, which we're eating tomorrow at Charlie Guerin's Railhead Barbecue. One of our new sponsors, Dana Lang, who sells Cowtown, realtor, she's going to be there. Yesterday, Walter Daniels Sr. came in, and we were just visiting, and he was talking about he had a lot that he wanted to sell or whatever, and so I sent her his phone number, and I think they're working the deal out. Now, Walter's in good shape. He still has 4 to 5 years of good quality life, he said. Now, heck, at the length of time, with RFK Jr. in there, they might have a cure or something. He's got a rare form of leukemia. But right now, there's no change. I mean, he's good. He and his wife been married now 3 months. They want to do a lot of traveling. I mean, not Europe or anything. Grand Canyon, different stuff. Colorado. So I'm happy for Walter, and I think he and his wife are going to be at the luncheon on Saturday. You might want to, if you know Walter, great guy. Michelle and Keith, their son is Michael. They're all great friends. Keith and Walter went to school together. And I asked about Michael, and he said, he's out of that school that he was in, but he still has some issues they're working with. That kid is like Trump's kid. Michael must be almost 7 foot tall. But anyway, I've talked too long. Love all of you. We'll see y'all. Now I kind of can talk quite a bit, because you don't have to show her anything. Just point out the ones you want ready and let her work. She's right back to where she was before. You have to go out there. She knows she has to go to work after she leaves here at Chewy's on 7th at 4, and she goes home first. So it was about 2:10, and I said, Rosie, stop. You got to stop her. Oh, is it time? Yeah, it's time. I'll put the stuff up. No, I'm going to put it up. Great employee. Okay, so I will see. I got to do the sponsors. Let me open the door in case she comes in. Gonna be a nice day. Okay, let's do the sponsors. There's Yellow Snake Horses, Brazos River Ranch. We're going to try to do a picnic there. Sherry Holt is working on it with that lady. You can ride for about 2 hours for $75, and you do not have to be a seasoned horseback rider. Eric Walsh is a board of directors member on Larry's Kids, and he is also in the real estate business. Dub Peacock's A-Bird AC and Heating. If you need anything to do with heat or air, Dub's the man. And he is a Poly Peacock. There's Dana Lang's card. One of her company name is Dana Sells Cowtown. It's a great name. Dickie Carr Sand and Gravel, that's Richard Carr's father, who's deceased. Pat and Richard run that company. They're big on sand and stuff. I mean, you go out 199 on the way to my spread, everything on the left, it looks like a rock quarry. That's all Richard Carr's. Richard and Pat. They also were the first people to write a check for $5,000 for Larry's kids. Steve Coburn, Coburn's Catering, been in business since 1947. If you're having a party or whatever, how big does he do? Well, he does the stock show every year, so that's probably several hundred employees. Fort Worth Lumber, Emily and her crew, they're down on I-35. I used to call it the South Freeway, I still do. Anything to do with lumber, they can help you. K-Ranch Roofing. Why is that thing not working? K-Ranch Roofing is Jorge Hernandez. If you think you might have roof damage, call the number and you'll get Bree. She is the office manager. She'll set up an appointment that's good for you and good for their specialist, and they'll come out and tell you what it is and whether you got roof damage or not, and they don't charge for that. Brandon Cross, Cross Electric. The other day I was posting his card on our group, and Manny Ramirez signed in and said we use them all the time. They were also nominated as DFW's favorites. Jenny Stewart, State Farm Insurance. Please just give them a call if you use Farmers, Allstate, Freeway, whoever. I've had probably 10 or 12 people in the last 2 or 3 weeks tell me they saved. One lady said she saved $75 a month. That's almost $1,000. Same coverage, and all. State Farm is a great company. Old South Pancake House, 2 locations. 1500 block of South University Drive, open 24/7. They're in Burleson and they close at 9 or 10 at night. Optimist Club of Fort Worth, that's an international company. Jeff Norman was here the other day with us and telling us all the great stuff they do for youth, both boys and girls. Charlie Guerin's Railhead Barbecue, that's where we're going to eat tomorrow at 1. They got a great chicken special. I think you get a half or a quarter chicken and 2 sides for, it's a special, $9, $10 something, $12. 1 o'clock tomorrow. Rains Plumbing, they are a family-owned business. They've really gotten a lot of work they do for our members, and it's all been 5-star reviews. Casey Crawl, Medicare or Medicaid. Don't try to navigate Medicare or Medicaid. Call Casey and let one of their experts walk you through it, or they'll meet you at your house, their house, or in between. Tri-State Dent is our paintless dent removal. Door dings, hail damage, all of that. Jason and his crew they come to your place and they take care of you, and they do it quick. Rex's Bar and Grill, the old macaroni grill on same parking lot as Old South. That thing's like the Taj Mahal. You just need to go through there and you'll be amazed. He spent a ton of money. Schwartz and Hanson are our architectural sponsors. They also are very active in the bike giveaway and long time sponsors. Stroud Auto Supply, Danny Stroud and his wife. I bought parts there when I was 15 or 16 years old. I had a 55 Chevy. And the mechanic I used over on Belknap, California Tom, I had that car at a 327 with 2 4s. And he's the only guy that could tune up or get those carburetors right. And he'd say, go over there and buy the parts at Stroud. 60 years later, here I am with his son. Phelps Family Auto Care, Burleson area. Nothing but fantastic reviews. I'll try to figure out how to get this thing. That didn't work. G2 Garage, Chris, they are in the White Settlement area, and they are ready, willing, and able to take care of you. Okay, so we're going right now. Finally got that figured out. Dickie Carr is Richard Carr's nephew. His company is Grateful for Your Trees. They do everything to do with trees, plus all that other stuff. All you gotta do is call them. Fort Worth Florist, Jeanette heads up that operation. Gotten several good reviews on her. I post the reviews at the end of the month. Alpha Design and Build is Lance Sanders. He'll remodel your house or your building, or he'll put a second story on it. They do it all, residential or commercial. Scott, he can build you a website or anything to do technical. Get a hold of Scott. In fact, he'll be here sometime this morning. Clay Winstead Paint and Body. I've been doing business with them for 40 years. Way before Clay was running it. They're on White Settlement Road, a block past Roberts Cutoff. Gotta go. Don't forget. Take care of those puppies, cats, dogs. They always love to see us. And when we're having a bad day, we don't treat them right. Or I holler at Peppo sometimes, and I feel bad about it as soon as I walk out of that room. They have feelings too, so everybody wants to feel wanted. And I tell you what, our little friends, they're always excited to see you. So love on them. Don't scream at them. Gotta go. Hope y'all all have a great day. I'll be